Hello, Kathy Burgett and Livia Farraco. These are the co-founders of Herself 360, which is an online women's magazine publication. And they're going to tell us about their amazing story today. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. We're so glad to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, you're so welcome. And so my first question to you is, how did both of you meet?
So it was at a women's conference back in, I think it was 2016 or 2017. There were hundreds of women there. It was at a big hotel in Boston, and we happened to sit at the same table. And that's how we met each other.
Excellent.
And it was like best friends at first sight.
Is that true, Olivia?
Yes. Yeah, that was the love at first sight.
Too funny. And so what inspired both of you to come up with Herself 360?
So I and my daughter did the Women's March on Washington in 2017, in January of 2017. And I was so enthusiastic and excited about being there. And I met some amazing women who had amazing stories. And I really thought after that, I really want to do something that helps women or gives women a platform to share their stories. And Livia and I had been talking over months and trying to figure out what it was that we were going to create based on, what I thought and what she thought. And feel free, Liv, to chime in on where you were coming from.
Yeah. Well, to me, I think it's with my coaching. It's the coach part of me who really wanted to help people to get the tools to know how to figure things out and to have a more fulfilling life, and to have a voice. Stories are important because this is what shaped us. And from my own experience as a Black woman, moving to France and then here, and and having a voice when hasn't always been given. Mm-hmm. So that was the magazine was something that really aligned with my coaching and with the We Are Enough, and so yeah.
Nice. And what kind of coaching did you do?
Life coaching, performance, business, and also image consulting. So image consulting is more to be fully aligned, in the way you present yourself out to the world, and so it helps you to kind of feel and know what to wear, which colors, shape, texture, hairstyle, like that. It has to align the image you have of yourself and look authentic.
Right. And are you still doing that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Excellent. So you have 2 jobs.
Yeah.
And possibly a few more between you two.
Yeah.
And so how did both of you come up with this name? It's very interesting. Herself 360.
So I'm going to let Liv answer that question.
Well, when we started to think of the value and the mission, the vision and the mission of the magazine, we really wanted to try to find something that would be that would capture in the name and the visual what we wanted to the message. So we had a lot of brainstorming. We came up with a boat anchor, for the to stay grounded, and then we come up with the globe, the Earth globe, and then the Earth globe became an anchor with an, so, and then Kathy's niece, Kathy showed that to her niece, who is a creative designer.
Yeah.
And then she come up with the idea of the Earth globe with women holding hands all around the globe. And then with the help of a professional designer, we worked and we came up with the Herself 360, which covers the vision and mission of, encompassing, supporting, and, women all around the world in 360 degrees of their life. So,
wow, that is an interesting story right there.
Yeah,
I would love to.
It actually was so much fun coming, throwing the ideas out and watching it change and turn into something else.
Right. I think I much prefer this to the anchor. So I gotta say. So did either of you think that when you were little and you were growing up, did either of you think that one day you're going to grow up to start a magazine and start a publication? Did you think that you'd be doing today, all the stuff that you're doing? Did either of you want to be a rock star when you were growing up?
No.
I wanted to.
Yeah, really. My big thing when I was growing up was I wanted to be in law. I really love politics and history, but I wanted to be the poor man's lawyer, the one who gave the person a voice that didn't really have a voice.
Right.
And so, and even in school, always standing up for the person who didn't have a voice. Right. So I never really thought of it as a magazine per se, but I think I've always been, I've always wanted to give people a voice that didn't, and advocate for people at a very young age.
What about you, Livia?
Yeah. Well, at the time, the publishing world was all paper, and it was still kind of, for a little, for elites, like people who had money and networks. So I never dreamed that I would have a magazine. I actually wanted to be a fashion designer. But people have always come to me to share their issues or to talk about life in general, and it was already about stories. So I like to write, and I like to read stories. So, but no, it was just not the era for that kind of dream for me, I guess.
Right. And whereabouts did you grow up when you were young?
I was born in Madagascar, and I left when I was 7, and I moved to Paris. And that's kind of funny because now that we are in this Black Lives Matter, I grew up in Paris in a very wealthy, near the Eiffel Tower. Mm-hmm. And so all these kids were from wealthy white families. I was probably one of the few, if not the only Black person at the time. And I just didn't have access to these kids, nor would I have access to their families the first few years. But they were in the publishing world, they were in the movie industry, they were already in that very small niche. Mm. And so I grew up there, studied in France, and moved here only in 2014.
Wow, excellent. And so how long have you two been doing this publication? How many years has it been?
So we incorporated it, or limited liability. We created it in October of 2017. And then in January 1st, 2018, we published our first issue. And we've been publishing issues monthly since then. So our March issue, which was number 39, just went out a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, congrats.
Together for this, going into our 4th year.
Awesome. And how has the magazine grown? Did you When you started, did you have just one section or two sections?
We thought about, we looked at other magazines and thought we would put in, have the different categories that other magazines had, but then it didn't work out that way. Like most of it was women just telling stories about what happened to them or how they got through something. So it wasn't really it wasn't a fashion magazine, which we thought, oh, we'll have fashion and we'll have and we'll have books and we'll have movies and theater and all this other stuff. But then it didn't turn out that way. It was more personal development and recipes and moms and what moms thought and different people's ideas on different things. Mm-hmm. So it didn't turn into a regular magazine, but I'm glad it didn't, because that's not what we were really trying to go for.
Right. Well, I would say a traditional magazine.
Yeah.
Right. You're more cutting edge, and you're a unique publication.
Right.
Yeah, we really tried to start a lifestyle magazine, and we wrote the first articles, like the first probably 3 months, I don't know. We wrote actually all the categories, and it was so painful because you don't resonate with all the categories, and you have to still put the good vibe and the energy while you write it.
Right.
But organically, it just evolved in something beautiful that became that platform. So, but actually, our first writers kind of changed the vibe and just led it to a complete different place.
That's so interesting. So, like the very first set of people you had kind of set the tone.
Yes.
And the ethos for successive and progressive items that you would have.
Yeah. Right.
So that's really super interesting to hear. And so, do you have a favorite section? Oh. So I know this is going to be hard for you to pick. You have a lot of good sections, but if you have to pick,
it's so hard. I really don't. I would have to say personal development, but we have some amazing writers who just keep coming back, like Laurie O'Neill and Tom Oettinger, who does the wine. He's our wine connoisseur. And Julie Hatch, who's Moms on a Mission, and Peg Doyle, who does health and wellness in the body. And those people write for us almost every month, and they're my favorite writers. And then a new one will come in and they're my favorite writer. Exactly. So we have a new woman, Nicole Henderson Donovan, who is amazing. And they're starting to move forward and write their own books based on the stories that they're writing, or they're sharing. They've already written a book and they're sharing more about the book or where it came from. So I think personal development falls under so many categories. So
yeah, I think one started. Yeah, you're right. The Generation X one started. Yeah. She, thanks to her Self 360, she decided to take the leap. Did you mention Laurie O'Neill?
I did. I said Laurie O'Neill first. Yeah, she's amazing. So she's she helps people who have had a death in their family, and she coaches them, or I don't want to say coaches, but I don't want to use. I'm not sure the word I want to use, but she is amazing, and her stories are really great. They're just really, and she helped write a book too for her niece.
Yeah. And Tom is our, let's hear it from the boy, and he's our French sommelier. So he was certified in wine expertise in London, I think. And he really helps you to match, what about, wine and pizza night, or, wine for summer, like, be chill. And so it's really, But we like them all. But
that's an American favorite, wine and pizza night.
Right. He's actually doing a series on women in wine.
Yeah.
Over the next couple of months. So
cool.
He's been great.
Our first one We had our first one this month.
Wow. Is it like famous women in wine or just?
It's women who own wineries or
Oh,
are
cool.
running wineries. So
Oh, that's very cool.
That's
I didn't really realize there were lots of women running wineries. I mean, that's
there isn't. It's a very male-dominated
Right.
field, but
That's what I would imagine.
he's highlighting the women that are in the field now. So
Yeah.
excellent. Wow.
yeah.
So what was the last item that went into your publication that really resonated with you? What was the last thing that you put in there that you thought, wow, this really speaks to me?
The peg toy one.
The what?
The peg the NICU one.
Oh, Julie Hatch.
Right.
Is an ICU nurse, a NIC. She's in the NIC ICU.
Yeah.
So she takes care of babies. And so she talks about angels in the NICU. And that was like that was a really good story. And then Nicole Donovan wrote a poem. And it's about being about being a mother and all the things that come with it. And then Wendy Juergens, who's a new writer for us,
Yes.
Wrote about her son committed suicide. And so she's writing a book, but she started with like the first chapter in her book as a story in Herself 360. And that really was a beautiful story too.
Oh. And like how many pages would that be? Would that be like a couple of pages in the publication?
So we tell people not to write, and so we go by words, not really pages. So
right.
400 to 600 words.
Right.
Kind of keeps people's attention on the story. When it gets longer than that,
right.
People lose.
We lose them.
Yeah. Their attention spans of gnats is what we all have.
They turn to the wine section.
Right. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So what are the next steps for you two? What are the plans for the next 6 months for the magazine?
So we're working, well, Livia's working on this, Instagram TV, IGTV. Yeah. So you can tell her a little bit about that, Livia.
Yeah. We're going to go live more often. And because we really had we wanted to create that platform and share these stories to empower people. And we feel like it's important also to keep having the conversation that are needed for a better, world. So, and for people to find us easily, because some people are more visual, they're not really into reading. And so we're going to have conversation about Black Lives Matter. We're going to have conversation about femicide, which is, it's like genocide, but for only women and girls. So we're going to have conversation about that, about, Rosie's Place and homeless people, about, So we're going to go more live on social media, and we're going to have special guests, great guests, and it's going to be fun.
Wow, that should keep you busy.
Yeah. Yes.
And Kathy's going to take care of all the digital, marketing
videos and yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's what my background is in technology.
Yeah.
That would help.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So anything else you two would like to add? What should we look for the next time we take a look at your publication? Are you going to embed some of the social media links in the publication so people can have direct access?
It is in there. I'm pretty sure the social media is in there, and a lot, like our membership. It's $25 a year, and as part of the membership, people get to advertise events because we have an events page in the magazine, and then we have social media where people can share their information on the social media if they become members, and that's only $25 a year.
Yeah, and we are going to have the marketplace.
Oh, right, we're working on the marketplace.
Okay.
So people who are members too we're creating a marketplace part of the section in the magazine, so people can start advertising their businesses amongst the women that are reading the magazine.
That seems nice.
Yeah.
Wow, exciting. All right.
It is
Well,
very.
it's a lot of fun stuff to look forward to.
Yeah.
I don't know where we'll start first. The women who run their own vineyards or the Rosie's Place Instagram video.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, we'll post it for sure. So should we talk about internship, Kathy, or no?
Oh, sure.
Go ahead, Liv.
Okay, we're looking for interns in digital marketing. I would say essentially, and what else?
And sales. So we talked to actually somebody yesterday or the day before who's going to help us sell sponsorships for the magazine too. So you can sponsor a story depending on what it is your company does. So we're working in that direction too.
Wow, excellent. And you have a link? So everyone would just go to your website and then they would look for like a form or application form or you know how to apply for the internship or sales position?
So there's a contact us at the bottom of the page that they can just click on. So it's herself360.com and they would just go to the contact at the bottom of the page.
Great. Perfect.
But I will also share on the social media when we have something ready.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they can already use the contact from the website.
Great. Lovely. Well, it's been a pleasure. Such a joy speaking with both of you today. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having us. We really appreciate it.